it's a gradual process, but sometimes if a girl's really into you and she's like all like touchy-feely and she's smiling, well then you can just rest your hand on her leg. Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlchase.com. Today I want to talk about why you should sit next to the girl when you go on a date with her. It's a simple suggestion, but it has really significant results. I've noticed that the women who I find the couch to sit on at the bar or at the restaurant, or if we're having coffee, I just put my chair next to her. We have a much better time because I'm a very touchy person, but even if you're not a touchy guy, touch is still super important with seductions. It's also gonna help the vibe to feel like you're closer. It's just gonna, I mean, you're literally closer and she's gonna feel that. You know, with people that you're intimate with, proximity isn't a problem. It feels natural. You know, you sit with your buddies on the couch and four of you are all scrunched up on the couch, you know, so you can play Call of Duty together, or, you know, you're with your girlfriend and you're laying down next to each other and you're cuddling. Proximity and touch have such an effect on how we feel about each other. Plus, this is a girl you're trying to be a lover with, or you're trying to be her boyfriend. And when you're developing that intimacy, well, you need to have intimacy at some point, right? Maybe not on the first date, maybe you don't move fast, even though I suggest that you do, you're eventually going to touch her. So the faster that you get closer to each other, the more comfortable she's going to feel having more intimacy in the future. It may think, okay, I'm just sitting next to her. Is this all of a sudden gonna make me have better dates? Yes, it is. It's going to make you have a faster connection and a more intimate connection because you have the ability to touch and she's gonna feel that closeness. So it's gonna make you feel like you're closer on an energetic level, and it's gonna feel more sexual because if the vibe does get sexual, she's gonna feel like, oh my God, he's just right here. And she's gonna feel that energy with you. So how do you actually get yourself close to her, right? You just immediately go on the date and say, oh no, sit next to me. Because sometimes there will be girls who maybe they're not, they want to put that distance, or you're gonna feel like they're just intuitively gonna put that distance. You're getting coffee, she's gonna sit over there. What happens if you can't sit across from each other? So if it's a situation where there's a lot of room in the restaurant or the coffee shop, then you can, you know, just naturally put your chair next to her, or just pick a place where you're supposed to kind of sit next to each other. Like if you take her to a coffee place or a restaurant, pick a booth and just tell her, oh yeah, here, or squeeze in here, and make it not a big deal. Make it as if it's natural for you to sit next to each other. And you can even add the comment where you say, oh, come on, let's sit next to each other. It's, you know, we're on a date. We're not in an interview, okay? And it'll make her that it's not aggressive, it's assertive. You're the man, you're leading the date. So take charge. Hey, come sit next to me. And if she says, oh no, I'm cool right here, be like, oh, come on, it's just look, we're on a date. Like, it's not a big deal. Just get over here. I don't have cooties, I promise. Right, get her over here. Now, if she still is being weird and doesn't want to sit next to you, then you blow it off. Give it one push and then say, okay, fine, whatever. And then sit down and act like it's not a big deal and just keep going. If it's really busy and you can't move your chair next to her because then you'd be blocking the walkway, then, you know, you're gonna have to sit across from each other. Then, you know, if there's nothing you can do about it, then there's nothing you can do about it. But even if it's gonna seem like it's inconvenient, grab a chair and just pull up next to her. If she makes a comment, because you're already there, she's not gonna say, go move over there, you know, get away from me, you creeper. Like, you guys are on a date. She likes you to some extent. But if she makes a comment, then say, what's the issue? We're sitting next to each other. It's not a big deal. It's a date, okay? So it's about making it as if it's not a big deal. And then what that's gonna do is you're kind of you're getting what we call compliance, okay? Compliance is when a woman is allowing you to get closer and closer. Either you're asking or telling her, or you're just doing it and she's accepting it. And the more compliance that you get with women, the more in the future they're going to give you. It's kind of like if you want a metaphor, think it's completely metaphor, you know, this isn't money, but if you get someone to loan you $5 and then later on you say, hey man, I need $10. They're more likely, there's actually been research to show that they're more likely to give you more investment. It's why people get themselves in really bad situations with investments. The sunken cost fallacy, if you've ever heard of that in economics. The more that you put into something, you don't want to pull out of it because you've put so much effort into it. This works with relationships as well, and it has some positive effects and some negative effects, because some people will stay in really bad relationships and they'll keep going. But this is the positive side of compliance stacking. So the more that you get closer to her and the more that you touch, for instance, then the more in the future she's gonna be more comfortable with touch, okay? So you're sitting next to her and you want to start touching her more. Now, some people hear this and they just have a fucking conniption fit and they're like, oh my God, you're just touching women. Okay, first of all, we're on a date. Second of all, be smart about it. Okay, so I'm here on the edge of the table and she's sitting here for coffee. Sat down, we're having our coffee. What you wanna do is you want to be having this principle of closer the better. So sit like on the edge of it next to her, or what you can do is sit farther away, but think, okay, over the date, I hope to be closer to her, so I'm gonna move closer to her. This also can work if you aren't sitting next to her. Let's say it just didn't seem natural, maybe you were afraid to sit next to her on the date. You can move closer to her later on. So let's say you're across from each other, and then you go to the bathroom. And now you're like, okay, we've been here for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I feel like she's a little bit closer. Then you come back and you just pick the chair next to her, or you grab your chair and you move it closer to her. And you're like, I felt like I want to be closer to you and, talk to you more. Or, I don't know, maybe the music's loud. You're like, I can't really hear you. You can be cheesy. She's gonna know, whatever. It's gonna feel more natural, especially now because you've had time to build a connection with her. Hopefully the day is going well. If it's not, then she's gonna like kick your chair and run off, but you're already fucked, right? So you come back and you move your chair, or as you're talking to her, sometimes you can have excuses like something on your phone. You wanna show her, some music video or some picture of you. You can say, oh yeah, one second, and you grab your chair and it's gonna look completely natural. You grab your chair and you move it as you show her on your phone, or you pick the chair next to her if there's another chair. And then you're like showing her and and you're leaning in, and it's kind of sleuthy, but she's gonna know what's going on. She's gonna enjoy it. I've done it tons of times and the girls love it. And you're getting closer. Now, once you actually are closer, you wanna be at some point sitting on her lap. So, or have her sit on your lap. Now, that's not always gonna happen, very rarely, but it can actually. So you're sitting next to each other and you wanna be leaning in more. Now, this has to calibrate to the date, obviously. You have to be smart, right? If the date's not going well and she's not feeling comfortable with you and she's not giving signs, so she's not smiling a lot, laughing at your jokes, looking at you a lot, she's moving closer, she's reaching over to touch. It starts lightly, right? So a light touch. Now that you're sitting next to each other, you make a comment and you touch her arm really quick, you touch her hand. People do it naturally all the time, you don't even think about it. You have your hands on the table and you say something and you're like, hey, you're talking to your buddy, hey man, right? Or you hit his arm. Well, that works with girls. Obviously, you're not gonna do like the buddy kind of touching. This is more like intimate touching, but you touch her hand and you say, wait, what were you saying earlier about this? Or, okay, so, tell me about yourself. Right? Do you come here often? Right? Whatever question you're gonna ask her, obviously you don't ask those questions. You can just do a light tap on the hand. Now, what you don't wanna do is don't look at it while you're, ooh, I'm touching you, because then it makes it awkward. It should seem natural. And when it's natural, you're just keeping eye contact with her and you're not making it a big deal. Then once you've established that, then you can start like leaning in when you say something and you see how she's reacting. And if she seems to be reacting well, then you can do more of it, right? So you lean in 10 degrees and then you lean in 15 degrees and you need a protractor to see your angles. So touch on the arm, you can start touching on the elbow, or actually, if her arm's on her leg, you can touch her arm on her leg. Then eventually what you wanna be working up to, and it's a gradual process, but sometimes if a girl's really into you and she's like all like touchy-feely and she's smiling, well then you can just rest your hand on her leg. What I like to do is just a light touch on the leg, as if, when you touch the hand, it's a light touch on the leg. And you just make a quick comment, it's there for a second and it comes back. And then you see how she reacts to it. If she's cool with it, then you keep talking, and let's say you go on a rant like I am now, and you just keep talking, and then you put your hand on her leg and you keep it there. Then, you're drinking your coffee and you go over and you drink your coffee, your hand is still there. That touch and that connection and that proximity, that's really doing a lot for your connection together. So it's a simple advice and it allows you to touch her, because reaching across the coffee table is a lot harder. And that could be the starting place, and then once you see she's comfortable, you move closer to her. But if you just do it from the start and you just do it really quickly, you put it right here. Now also, it's gonna help you kiss her, because now you're closer together. Now, I wouldn't say you should always be trying to kiss a girl on a date, especially in a coffee place, because then she might not feel super comfortable, but I've done it tons of times. You should save it for when you get back to a place where you can do more than just kiss, because the tension might get really hot, but it might be going really well and you wanna kiss her. So if you're sitting next to her, you guys are leaning in a lot, then you can allow that natural gravity of attraction to take over and then kiss her. It's really hard to kiss her from across the table. I've done it and it's fun, but it feels like a lot of work. So sit next to her from the beginning or later on in the date when you're feeling more comfortable. Make an excuse, or you don't need an excuse, and just move your chair or pick the seat next to her, and then you can start touching her more. You can have the vibe with her that's both you're feeling more intimate and you're having a connection, and it's also sexual, and you're gonna feel each other's energies, and it's going to be conducive to getting you where you wanna get, and that means getting intimate with her, getting close to her, and then eventually getting inside of her. So, cool. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com, telling you to sit next to your date on a date because it's a date. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.